Good morning and welcome to Write with Rachel. I'm Rachel and I'll be your guide today. I've been journaling and writing stories in notebooks since I was 5 years old. It's now 55 years later and I'm still writing and teaching creative writing. That's what inspired me to create Write with Rachel. If you're tired of the same boring writing prompts that you can find online, I invite you to join me. You can watch as I take blank pages of paper and fill them with my brainstormed handwritten notes. They are messy, they're incomplete, they're imperfect, which makes them perfect in their own way. We'll start with the prompt and then we'll move into a shared writing practice. If you're ready, go ahead and grab your favorite notebook, your computer, a sketch pad, a voice app, whatever tools you prefer to use to express yourself. We'll start with today's prompt. What's going to happen when I roll the dice? Well, today we have our would you rather prompt, and I have 3 different scenarios over here on this side of the page. Would you rather never show up in a photo or never take a photo again? Would you rather only be able to answer one question a day or only be able to ask one question a day? Would you rather be connected to the internet 24/7 or only have 15 minutes of access a day? So let's roll and decide which direction we're going to take this prompt. If we get a 1 or a 2, we'll choose number 1. 3 or 4, we'll choose number 2. 5 or 6, we'll choose number 3. And here we go. We get number 4, so that means we are going to go with this one right here. Answer one question or ask one question. Today we're also going to add a challenge. I like to include a sense in every writing session, and today it is a sense of taste. I have written down several different tastes to choose from. We have chocolate, champagne, metal, water, orange, and toothpaste. These line up with the numbers on the die, so let's see which taste will be your challenge to incorporate today. Oh, we have number 6. So that is the taste of toothpaste. So challenge yourself to incorporate the taste of toothpaste. Let's start brainstorming some ideas on how we could interpret this prompt in some different ways. Let's start off with some journaling ideas. You could journal your thoughts about being able to only answer one question a day. Perhaps you are a parent and you think that this might be great, especially if you have a very curious toddler who may ask 100 questions a day. Maybe you have a job where people ask you questions all day, and perhaps you would love this because you can tell people you get one question, so make sure you choose the right one. You could journal about what might that one question be. And do you think people would save up, make a bank of questions? Or do you think they would just blurt out the first question? If you decided that you only wanted to be able to ask one question a day, what question would that be? and why? How would you account for not being able to ask your daily life questions? For example, your partner says, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything? Well, you can't answer that question. Well, actually, we're on ask. You're going to the store and you can't ask, do you need anything? So you'd have to come up with a different way to accommodate. If you could only ask one question a day, what would you do if you already used your question up and something came up that was serious? Let's say you want to go in a creative writing direction. You could write a story about someone and they go to meet their partner's family. And unfortunately, the first question is, how are you? And they don't want to waste their answer on that, so they don't answer. So then they get a reputation of being snooty. And the story continues from there. You could say, if you're someone in a story and you can only ask one question a day, you could be someone and you are lost and you need to find something in a short time period. There are big consequences if you don't. You have to weigh, what is the question that will bring you the most valuable information, and what happens if you ask the wrong question. If you would prefer to make a list, you could make a list of questions that you would answer. You could make a list of questions that you would ask. And as part of our bonus challenge, in which of these scenarios could you bring in the toothpaste? Well, let's say here in number 7, in meeting the family, what if they say, what's your favorite toothpaste? And you can't answer. So they give you bubble gum and you can't stand it. You could say that you are wondering, let's see, about your toddler asking you 100 questions a day, and maybe you want to ask them something like, did you brush your teeth? Do you use your questions on things like basic daily life habits? So there's a start with our prompt today. As always, I encourage you to choose whichever direction feels most interesting to you today. I also always encourage the wildcard direction. The wildcard direction is for you to go in any direction that you would like. Perhaps it was one of these other prompts, one of the other tastes, anything that came to mind, and anything that felt inspiring to you. In a moment, I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to start my first 5 minutes of writing. I'm going to start a short story draft. After I draft for 5 minutes, I am going to switch to a silent writing time. Let's get started. You can watch my words fill the screen, see where I mess up, listen to my process, and feel free to join me if you wish. So I'm starting with the character. It's her wedding day. Let's say that her name is Tracy. She says, I woke up and brushed my teeth. The toothpaste was fresh, minty, and cool. A clean start, a fresh start to my wedding day. So she's excited to have this fresh start. As I walked downstairs to have breakfast with my cousins, I noticed that my great aunt Mary had joined them. She was known for her, let's say, uh, magical ways. I greeted her and she handed me a card. I opened the card at her urging, and she said to me as I pulled out the $500 check, marriage is about choices. Today, I offer you choice one or choice two. Which is it? After receiving such a generous gift, I really didn't feel like I should question her about choice one or choice two. Magical as she was, she couldn't really bring any harm to me, or could she? I said, I select choice one. In the next room, I heard my cousin gasp, oh no, not the choice game. I shuddered. The freshness of the day seemed overshadowed. What had I gotten myself into? And how was I going to find out? This signals the end of my first 5 minutes of writing. I'm now going to start the silent writing time. You can continue to watch me complete my story, or you can also start your own writing time if you have not started. At the end, I will share how I wrap up my draft. So let's start writing. This signals the end of our shared writing time. If you're in a good groove, I encourage you to keep going. I promised I'd share the end of my story, and here it is. We have our bride, and she has just been given a choice from her great aunt. She doesn't know what the choices are, but she makes the choice anyway. Her cousin says, Come with me. She rushes over with a muffin and mimosa. She hurries her out to the deck and she says, Take a drink fast. The orange juice tasted sour against the minty freshness of my mouth. I opened my mouth. Stop, she said. You don't know which one she gave you. Which one? I thought. What was she talking about? She gave you one or the other, she said. You can either ask one question or answer one question. We don't know which one it is. You need to be able to answer the question. You need to be able to say, I do at the ceremony. So just don't ask or answer anything today. I nodded. Basically, I need to stay silent on my wedding day while I got ready, while I spent time with my family members. The freshness of the day faded away like the toothpaste. Later, I was getting ready. Since I couldn't talk, I kept drinking mimosas. And after several mimosas, my mom said, Are you sure you love her? Of course, I blurted out. My cousin gasped. My heart beat fast. I had just asked a question. What if that was the only question I got to answer that day? At the ceremony, the celebrant turned to me and asked, Do you take her to be your wedded wife? I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I looked at my partner and saw the shock, the surprise, the disappointment in her eyes at my non response. Then the answer came to me. I couldn't answer, but I could ask. I looked at my partner and asked her to marry me. Would she marry me? Would she take me? She said, I do. I looked over at my great aunt. She nodded approvingly. This is the end of my story draft for today. If you'd like, you're welcome to share what you wrote today in the comments. But if you'd rather keep it private, that's perfectly fine too. I would love for you to join me again tomorrow. I'll be posting a new writing session every weekday. Tomorrow is Friday, so we have Spin the Wheel. If you'd like to keep writing together, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for writing with me today.